Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through a lower workout. So usually it would be a lower dynamic workout. However, at the end of next week, I am away with some family. They do have a home gym, so I'll be able to get some sort of workouts in, but I won't be able to do my normal dynamic sessions. So I'm just going to do general upper and lower sessions until then. And then when I'm back, I will do my normal training. So here I decided to build up to 200 kilos on this box squat using the safety squat bar, just using my bench as the box because it was easy. I just decided to build up to somewhat of a heavy single. That's probably around 90% 1 rep max. And I came forward a little bit on the way up, but I think that's because I was trying to keep my back too vertical. And because of the camber on the bar, it is actually, I am prone to caving forward way more with that safety squat bar than I would be with a regular bar. But nice to just get a heavy single in there. Then my next accessory here is a cool one. So it's hip extensions, but this specialty bar I've had made by a local welder, and it allows me to actually overload them. So previously I've been able to do 50 kilo hip extensions with the 50 kilo plates, but it's so awkward to hold a plate and I can't load it very heavy. So here I got 2 sets of 10 at 80 kilos. So I didn't push too hard just because you've got to allow your body to adapt to new stimuli. That's one way that people get injured, is going too heavy too quickly. So I just did 80 kilos here for 2 sets of 10. It was pretty challenging, as you can see there. I definitely was feeling the burn in my hamstrings and my glutes, but very excited to use that piece of equipment and overload it more in future. I want to get it up to like 150 kilo hip extensions, and I think that will massively help my hip extension joint action, which is relevant to both my squats and deadlifts. It should stop me from caving forward in squats and allow me to extend all the way up and lock out my deadlifts. So very excited about that. Then the next accessory here was quad extensions. So I've been doing single leg quad extensions recently, but here I just decided to do some heavy dual leg quad extensions, and I went the heaviest I ever have done at 180 pounds, and I got 2 sets of 6. So they were great, a nice heavy PR for me. I've never gone that heavy on them. And if you followed the series, you'll know I've been working through a right knee injury. That's one of the reasons I've been doing single leg quad extensions, because my right leg's still a little weaker than my left leg. But I felt no pain in my knee going that heavy at all as well. And quad extensions in particular are very taxing on the knee when you have a knee injury. So yeah, I was very happy about that. Then moving on to the next accessory here, I used the safety squat bar, just left the 200 kilos on from the box squat earlier, and I did elevated calf raises. So this is the heaviest I've gone off an elevated block. The form wasn't the strictest here, but I managed to get 2 sets of 8 here, and I was very happy with these, just getting some nice heavy calf raises in, and definitely the heaviest I've gone off an elevated block. I think I've only done 150 kilos before off an elevated block, so I was happy with those. Then moving on to the next accessory here, it is hip abductions. So using my machine with the cable, I tested this out on my deload week, or maybe just before my deload week, a couple of weeks ago, and it felt really great. My limiting factor before that is I'd found every ankle strap I used was too short. It wouldn't get all the way around my ankle, and then it meant that the Velcro wasn't holding properly, and it kept like breaking. Basically my ankle kept going through the Velcro and it kept coming undone. So sometimes you put aside exercises because you get conceptions in your head that you can't do something. I've found this even in commercial gyms. Like I'll have tried a piece of equipment for my chest, for instance. There'll be a chest press machine and I'll be like, oh, I don't like that machine. But then I don't use it for years and years. And what I've often found is you'll go back and then find, oh, it is actually a great machine or a great exercise. So for me, that's what was happening with these cable abductions. I was like, oh, they don't work. The ankle strap doesn't work. It's it's just too much effort, I won't do them. So I've done loads of banded ones, but as we know, bands increase in tension the more you stretch it, so it's non-uniform tension. So it's nice to do these cable ones where it's as hard in the bottom position as it is at the top. So I was happy with those. I did 2 heavier sets first with 50 pounds and got sets of 5, but they felt unbelievably heavy, and literally just dropping the weight stack down 1 to 40 pounds allowed me to get a set of 10 on each side as well. So literally double the reps for just dropping the weight by 20%, because that's what happens as you approach nearer your 1 rep max. Your strength and number of reps you can do drastically drops off. So sometimes as well, it is beneficial just to drop the weight a little bit to allow yourself to get way more reps and volume into something. So that's why I did that there on the second set. Then the final accessory here was hip holds. So I just had a miscellaneous lower programmed. I've done these quite a lot recently and explained them. It's not like a real exercise that I ever got taught. I just sort of started doing it. I saw a kettlebell one day and I thought, what happens if I try and hold this and tense my hip flexors? So it particularly gets the standing glute. You're also doing like a bit of a hip thrust on the standing leg. And it obviously hits the hip flexor of the raised leg and the tibialis of the top leg. So I was shaking there and getting a bit annoyed because I was cramping basically, and I was literally like 5 seconds away from the end. But in general as well, I hate doing isometrics. I hate feeling like I have to passively wait for time to pass. When you're doing reps, you can sort of speed up the rate of your reps if you're struggling, and particularly when training for strength, if you're just trying to get in 10 reps, it doesn't matter if you go faster. But with an isometric, you're waiting for the time. There's nothing you can do to speed up the process. So I find it frustrating, and that's why I don't do many isometrics within my training, partially. But I also do think training full ranges of motion is more beneficial in general. But yeah. Oh, also this second set, as you can see, I did it with my hips turned out just to hit the hip flexors and everything at a slightly different angle. So that is it for today's video. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff. And I hope you have a great day.